Your life.
Hi everyone, how you doing? Happy Tuesday, and what a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday it is. It's gorgeous out there, isn't it? It's a lovely day today. Nice, and it feels like the summer's actually starting to happen, which is nice. Yeah, it's beautiful, really warm, really warm in the shop as well. Actually, normally it's quite a cool place, but Sarah and I are both like, oh, it's warm in here today. So, how are you all? Hopefully everyone is okay, and everyone's doing all right. This is something quite new to me still. I mean, I've made a lot of socks using this method now, but we were at a show down in Exeter about 2-3 years ago, and I've always wanted to do socks, make my own socks, but I don't get on with double pointed needles, DPNs, just don't get on with them. So there were two lovely ladies there who, one actually Jenny lives in Surrey, and Zoe I think is Penarth way. Might be Barry, I can't remember actually, but they're both local to us. And Jenny owns a company called Owl About Yarn, owl as in, an owl, Owl About Yarn, and she's got an online website, and she dyes all her own sock yarns and all sorts of yummy things. Definitely worth checking out. They're on Instagram as well, and yeah, she's got some beautiful sock yarns, and they're all hand dyed, and they're just stunning. In fact, my very first pair of socks were some of her wool. And Zoe does a lot of patterns, and they're best friends, and they do lots and lots of stuff together. Zoe is Pins and Needles. She's on Instagram as well. They're also both on Ravelry, and they were like two stands up from us, and we got chatting, and they showed me how to do magic loop socks, pointed me all in the right direction, and it's just I've made loads of pairs now, loads and loads of pairs, because it's just such a lovely way of making socks. I really don't get on with DPNs. Lots of people do, absolutely, but I'd end up losing them, and because I'm more of a crocheter than a knitter, I haven't really got the patience for it. But this is brilliant because I can literally, I carry around my project in one bag with me, and I can knit away, and it's very little to them as well. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you magic loop. I've also done half a sock, so I can show you how to turn the heel as well, because a lot of people get stuck on that bit, so I thought I'd show you both. So who's coming online? Who's about today?
We've got Eileen, we've got Joanne, we've got Sheila, Grace, Heather, and
cool.
So far.
Fabulous. Lovely. So before we get into the actual knitting bit, I'm going to show you some new stuff that's coming to the shop. So we have had the new Liberty Christmas come in yesterday. So I brought just little bits over to show you, because I didn't want to carry all the bolts. So I brought some over to show you. So Ju, you might want to get some nice close-ups on these. Look at this. That is just the cutest little Christmas village. And then we've got that one, which is all, and I love the fact it actually says Liberty on the bauble. There. You've got little stockings and all. And then you've got like a negative version of that as well, just the red on the cream. Again, exactly the same. You've got the most beautiful little stars. You've got this lovely, so this is the Wiltshire Shadow, which we stock all the time. It's like their blender, but this is a metallic version. It's cream on gold, and we're going to have it as well, white on silver. So that's coming in a couple of days. And then this one, which is this beautiful, like holly and mistletoe design. And then I really like this one, which are these little trees. Again, you've got that little bit of metallic in them as well, a little bit of gold. And I like the fact this year they've done it in a quite traditional colourway. And you've got like blue with the red, all the different baubles, or like ornate baubles. And then you've got really cute little robin with all the snowflakes as the background. So they are in the shop. They will be going onto the website later today, probably early evening by the time I can get round to it. Their normal price $15.50, but if you want, you can do from ½ metre upwards on the website, but if you wanted like fat quarters or anything of it, just give us a call and we can sort that out for you. So I just thought I'd show you the new Liberty, because it's so pretty, and it's such beautiful quality. It's yummy. It's yummy. And I really like the fact they've gone, because last year it was a little bit more sort of aubergine-y and mustardy, rather than reds and golds and greens, but this year they've gone for a real traditional colourway, and I think it's beautiful, really lovely. So I thought I'd show you that. And before we actually start knitting, I'm going to show you some of the sock yarns we've got as well. Okay, so these we've got a couple from James Brett, which are called Funny Feet. Again, these are already on the website. We've got a couple of colourways in these. So it's 4-ply, for sock yarn, okay, and it is actually quite a thin 4-ply as well. I know that sounds silly, but it is quite a thin 4-ply. But you would easily get 1 pair of socks out of a ball, okay. They do come with free patterns as well, so if you order them, you get one of the free patterns. The free patterns are for double pointed needles though, they're not for magic loop. So I would suggest, if you want to try magic loop, that you do one just a plain sock or something to start with, and then once you've kind of got it in your head, you should be able to adapt these patterns for magic loop. And then we've got these ones. Oh, that one's also a James Brett one. And then we've got these ones in from King Cole, which are their new colours in their sock yarn. These are brand new out. And you've got a lovely sort of, this one's called Humbug, and it's got a tiny little bit of blue in, but nice to make a stripy man sock. And I love the colours in that sort of turquoise and everything. So what's that one called? That one is called 3, 4. I don't know if that one's on there. Is that one on there? No, I don't think it is. But you can see that with these wools, they self-stripe. They do this automatically for you, okay? You don't have to worry about changing colours. They do that automatically. And then that one you've got grey with all like the primary colours through it. So that would stripe up really nicely. So those are already on the website. So I thought I'd let you know. But if you want, so I've got some really posh sock yarn here, which is it's softer than this. These are lovely, mind. I've knitted with this before, and they're really, really fantastic. And if it's if you want to make some really good socks, these work brilliantly. If you want to sort of get different colours and little sparkly ones and stuff like that, check out Owl About Yarn. And the pattern that I would recommend for an absolute beginner, if you've never done socks before, and it's on Ravelry, and it's called, it's by Zoe, who's Pins and Needles. It's called As Requested Socks, okay? It's a hefty old pattern. It's 14 odd pages, but she tells you literally everything you need to know about the sock construction, about if you want to make them bigger or smaller, how to change it all. And then she does 2 versions in the pattern as well. So she's got plain socks, double pointed needles, and then she does it for, where is it gone? Magic Loop as well. She does it for Magic Loop, okay? So this is a paid for pattern, but it's on Ravelry. It's called As Requested. It's brilliant. It's so comprehensive, that one, because it really does tell you everything you need to know if you want to make them longer or shorter or wider, or if you've got making for a man, he's got really big feet. It tells you how you can lengthen and stuff. There's another 2 patterns which are freebies on Ravelry. Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot at you. There's one called Vanilla Latte, which is this one, which is one of the first socks I ever did, and it's just a really nice. This is the Owl About Yarn wool that I bought from her, which is just lovely. And then it's just a really nice little simple design. That one was called Vanilla Latte. It's on Ravelry. It's a free download. These were the As Requested socks, so they're an absolute plain sock, but it meant that I could change all the sizes and stuff. Okay, I could change all the sizes and things of them, but they're so soft. And then this one is called Hermione, and again, it's on Ravelry. It's a free download, and this has got a pattern. I wouldn't suggest maybe a pattern until you've made 1 pair of socks, because this was then my 2nd ever pair of socks, and I'm thinking, yeah, I can handle a pattern, fine, will be all right. Actually, keeping the pattern straight when you're turning and stuff isn't as easy as you think it's going to be. So I wouldn't suggest maybe this one for your first evers. I would go with a plain pair of socks and maybe use a lovely self-striping yarn for them, so that you can just concentrate on the construction rather than the pattern. Okay, and then once you've done one, you can then. The other thing I'd suggest you get as well is some sock stretchers. Okay, these were free. These actually Ronnie gave me in our crochet club, because she doesn't knit socks, and she had them free on the front of her magazine. They do really help to block your sock as well. Okay, so when you've made one, leave one on there while you're making the other one. All right, so let me move all these bits out of the way. Who's there just while I'm moving all these bits out of the way? Any questions or comments or anything?
Linda Thomason says hello. Sandra
Hi,
says
guys.
hello. Carolyn says amazing yarn.
Oh yeah, I love those ones. Those self-striping ones are brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Need the head says I need some of those, don't I?
You do need some lovely. I reckon you've got some nice sock yarn. I reckon. I'm sure we bought some when you went to Wonderwall. So yeah. Right, I've kind of got it in different stages, okay, so that I can show you, obviously, because you don't want to, knitting that much up was a car ride to Cheltenham and back, so, we haven't got that much time, so I'm going to do it in stages. You do magic loop with a circular needle, okay? Now, this is a massive one. For most sock yarns, you want a circular needle that's at least 60 centimetres, the cable, and it's a 2.25. All of these are all on a 2.25. Okay, we haven't got any in the shop at the moment, but they're due to come in tomorrow. So I will get them on the website, or you can give us a call. But we have got some coming in. You do what they call a long tail cast on. Now some of you may already know this, but it's quite a stretchy cast on, so that you get that stretch around the top to actually get it on. Okay. So I thought I'd show you that, and I'm showing you on really big yarn to start with. We've not done a knitting one before, so this is going to be interesting. Drew, you're going to have to come closer because I can't stretch like I can with crochet. Okay, so with long tail cast on, you need a really long tail, okay? I like that. And I'm going to just do a slip knot to start. And you use circular needles just like you would use long needles. I don't use long needles at all anymore for any knitting. I only ever use circulars, okay? So I've got a slip knot on my right hand needle. This is my tail. So you're going to ignore the working yarn for a minute, okay? Working yarn over there. Want to wrap the tail round my thumb. So I kind of trap it there, okay, and wrap it round my thumb. So it's going to kind of cross over like that, okay? I'm going to insert my my needle into there, wrap my wool, and then slip off. Okay, so wrap in, wrap round, and slip off. Okay, so wrap. You can see I kind of keep the tension in my little finger there. Oh, excuse me. Oh, dearie me. Okay, so I'm wrapping round my thumb to keep it like this. And off. There are lots and lots of stretchy cast-ons, okay? Lots and lots of stretchy ones. You might have your favourite one you've done previously, okay? But this is what they call the long tail, which I use for socks. I find it easiest, okay? And I'm just going to cast on all my stitches that way. Okay, so I've got it wrapped around my thumb. You can see you've got a cross there. I'm going to insert it in like that, wrap, and slide off. Okay, so in, insert, and slide off. Okay, so you would cast on however many stitches you require for your size sock. Okay, I tend to, because I've got quite big feet, I'm a 6.5, 7. I'm almost always a 7, but 6.5 sounds slightly daintier. I'm 7. So you would cast on, I tend to cast on about 64 stitches, which is about right for what you go with your pattern. Your pattern will give you your sizes, okay, however many stitches. So I would just keep going until I've cast on 64 stitches. Okay, I'm not going to cast on all 64 now. I'm just going to cast on a couple. All right, like that. You would just knit just a normal rib now. So just use your circular needles just like you would. I tend to do 2 rows of rib before I turn it to magic loop, because it's so much easier to get the magic loop in once you've got a couple of little rows, and I'll show you that in a second. But you would then literally just use your circular needles as you would normally, and I tend to do a double rib. Go with whatever your pattern is. So knit 2, yarn forward, purl 2. Okay, so I'm just going to knit 2, purl 2. Hoping you're getting this because it's quite hard. We've not done knitting on a obviously you need to know how to knit, to do this. This is not a beginner's knitting project. Okay, so you're just going to knit 2, purl 2 all the way down using your circular needles. I didn't count how many I cast on. just done a random amount. Okay, and then when you get to the end, you just turn and you just use these like normal needles for a couple of rows. Okay, you don't need this. This I had because I was making an Aran jumper and it all sits and it's much easier on your wrists. I just grabbed a pair. You know, you don't need a cable that long. That's ridiculously long for socks. I'll show you in a second. Okay, but I would just carry on. So that's going to be a pearl. Okay, and pearl, and then I would just carry on, and I would just do 2 or 3 rows maximum of your rib before we start magic looping it. Okay, because it will make it life easier, and I'll move on to that bit now. I've already done that bit so that we can move on. Okay, so, but you can see you can use circular needles for just normal knitting. It doesn't have to be for in the round. A lot of people have converted to them, particularly if you're doing something like a blanket. Okay, so I've just got a little double rib going on, which I'll show you in a second. If you're doing like knitting blankets or anything, you know, you haven't got to like ruckle all the stitches up because they sit in the cable, and it's a lot gentler on you. Okay, so do a couple of rows of your rib, which is what I've done here. Okay, so I've just done 2 rows of a double rib, okay, which is going to be the start of my sock. I've got 64 stitches on there, so I want to find my halfway point, so I want my 32, because I want 32 one side, 32 the other. So I'm just going to count round, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32. So between my 32nd and 33rd stitch, I'm going to pull through that cable like this. Okay, grab hold of the cable and pull it so that I've split my stitches into front and back. Okay, can you see I've got my cable here now? Push all those stitches on to the front like that, needle, and then all these stitches onto that one. Okay, be careful not to pull too far and pop them all off your needle. So I've now got, hang on, I'm just gonna cut that tail off a weeny bit because it's way too there we go, way too long. It's going to get in the way. Okay, so I've now got 32 stitches on one needle and 32 on the other with this big loop here. Okay, I want the yarn, the working yarn, to be on the back. Okay, so hang on, I'm just going to flip this because I've just realised. There we go. Okay, so I'm just making sure I haven't twisted it. Okay, so I'm going to try and do this. So I've got my working yarn, ignore the tail, on the back like that, and this is my front needle, this is my back needle. Okay, so at the moment it looks like that, and it would be almost impossible to knit. So you're going to pull the back needle through like that. Obviously don't pull it all the way through, you need this loop. Okay, I would say that you always need at least a six, you could get away with 40, but a 60 centimetre cable for this method. Okay, so I'm going to bring this forward, don't pull too much, grab hold of my working yarn, and I'm going to carry on my rib. Okay, so I'm starting with 2 knit. Okay, so I'm going to insert the hook into the front. So hang on, I'll just make sure that that yarn is the right side. There we go. Sorry, it's very difficult to get it all in the right way for you. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook in there, and I'm going to just knit that stitch. All right, and I want to pull it up really tight. Can you see? So I'm pulling it really tight to close that gap. So I'm going to knit 1, 2 like that, and then I'm going to purl 2. So it's all right. It's also trying to do it slowly so that you guys can see. So purl 2, and then knit 2, and I've just got to do this line of okay. So I'm going to go just do my knit 2, purl 2, and I'm just using the needles just like you would normally. Okay, just like normal knitting needles. So I'm going to go knit 2, purl 2 all the way along. The nice thing about knitting in the round as well is when you get onto the body of the sock, there's no purl rows, they're all just knit rows, obviously unless you're doing a pattern, but for a plain sock, they're all just knit rows as well. You haven't, oh, sorry, getting that caught up. Let's knit 2 and purl 2. Any questions so far, Drew? We just want to get to the end of this row.
No, just Bishop says lovely needles.
Yeah, these are the Knit Pro Nova basic needles, but they are fab. I really like them. I've got a pair of Zing Nova Knit Pro Zing needles, which are really nice as well, and I've got a pair of the Symphony ones. But actually, I come back to these ones. Okay, so I finished that row. All right, I finished that half of the row. I've got to the end. All right, I'm going to turn that one to the back. Okay, let me just pull off some yarn. Okay, it's that easier if I come into the light like that. Pull that one off to the back. I'm going to push the back stitches just onto the front needle like that. Okay, and it feels a bit fiddly the first few times you do it, but once you've made once you've done 2 or 3 times, it works really easy. You can see my yarn is on the back again, so I'm going to pull my back stitches off just onto the cable. Okay, and then carry on doing the second half of the row. Okay, so knit and make sure that one's pulled up nice and tight, because otherwise you end up with like a little ladder. You need to sort of close the gap. Okay, and you're just going to keep working down the row. So knit 2, purl 2, and you would just keep working on your rib, going round and round like that until your rib is as long as you want it to be, or as long as your pattern tells you it should be, and then you would move into just a plain knit stitch, which gives you like the stocking stitch thing, because you're only ever actually knitting the outside, so they are all knit rows, which is really nice because purl slows you down a bit, doesn't it? I can knit quite fast. My purl is a lot slower. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way down like this. So did everybody get how I got to that magic loop bit? Is everybody okay with that? Hope so. Please do say if you didn't, okay? And I will try and take this off and start again for you. Okay. Right, and then last 2. Now, the beginning of this, where we joined it, will look a little bit holy to start with, the first couple of rows, okay? You see, it looks like I've got a big ladder there. It won't, okay? I promise you it does pull up nicely. All right, hang on. This is so difficult trying to do it so far away from me. Okay, so I'm going to push the front stitches onto the front needle. Oh, hang on, don't let it twist. There we go. Front stitches onto the front needle. Pull the back one out. Okay, and then when I go into here, I'm going to push in like that and make sure I pull really tight. Okay, so really tug that down to close that gap, and after 2 or 3 rows that gap completely closes, and I'll show you that on one of this half finished one in a moment. And I would just go on again. Okay, is everybody okay with that, ladies and gents? Did you all get what I was doing with it? Okay.
Linda Thomason asked, could you do a pair of Wellington socks using thicker wool needles? I've done them years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you just change up the size of needle to the size of yarn. Yes, you could. Yeah, no problem at all. It's just that most sock yarn is it's a thin floor ply, so that's why I use 2.25s. But if you were going to do them in double knit, you would do them on a 4. If you were going to do them in chunky, you do them on a 6. So absolutely, you can do this method with any size at all. It's purely the fact that sock yarn tends to be a thin floor ply. Okay, so I would continue on like that, and I'd go round and round and round and round. Okay, I'm going to just swap to this one now. Okay, which is all I did here. Okay, so I just carried on. Now you can see that at the very top it's not joined. That's where I did 3 rows of rib before I started the magic loop. Okay, I would just use the tail and I would just stitch that together with a little ladder stitch. Okay, you can just cast on and split your stitches immediately and then it starts right at the top. But if you twist your stitches, it's very difficult to see whether you've twisted your stitches until you're about 8 or 9 rows in, and then you've got to frog it all back out. So I find that if I just do 1 or 2 or 3 rows of my rib first, straight, and then join it, and then all I will do is just ladder stitch that little bit closed. Okay, so I did my rib, and I did quite a short rib on this one. Some of them, you do really big ribs, you know, that's a shortish one. But these have got quite a big rib on them, and that's a single rib. That's just a knit one, purl one rib. Okay, just depends on what your pattern tells you to do. I think that was actually a knit 3. That's a knit 3, purl 3 rib. So you know, I've just done a knit 2, purl 2 on that one, and then I've just knit, 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 knit. You don't do any purl rows, and you get the stocking stitch effect. Okay, and I've done these just as a plain sock because the yarn is doing all the talking, and you can see that first little stitch there is quite big, loose, but I'm going to stitch that up, and actually after a few rows you don't get any ladder either side where I've joined it. Okay, you know, where I've gone from front stitch to back needle. Okay, I've also knitted the heel flap. I've got two rows left to do with that because I wanted to show you the heel flap. There are lots of different ways of knitting the heel flap, okay? And this is the bit, obviously, that sits here, where on the back of your heel, where your shoes or your boots would be, okay? It tends to be in a slightly different stitch. It's not just a plain stocking stitch. You can just do plain stocking stitch, but if anything is going to wear out and rub, it will be here, okay? So a lot of sock patterns use something called eye of partridge stitch, which I'm going to just show you quickly now, all right, before we get on to actually turning the heel. Okay, it's really, really simple. So you don't knit, again, a pattern will explain all this to you, but you don't knit round and round and round and round. You're going to stop. You just leave the front stitches on the front cable, okay, and you're just knitting backwards and forwards on the one side. Okay, is everybody still with me? You all okay?
Linda had said detention for you.
It's tension for you, is it?
Detention. Don't know what she means for that.
Detention for me? Yeah. Oh, why? What have I done? What did I do?
She also says love that rainbow wool.
Yeah, it's cute, isn't it? That's one of the zigzag ones. They're on the website. So. And
Anne said, I love this way of doing socks.
I struggled for years and years, and I gave up even attempting them. And I did make a couple on just straight needles, which had a seam down the back, and they just weren't as comfortable. They weren't as nice. And I mean, in the winter, I swear by these socks. I did think, I'm not sure, because I'm a barefoot girl. I'm barefoot in the house all the time. But, you know, when you're out and about and everything, and wearing socks. But I'm a convert now. I absolutely love these socks. They're just so comfortable, and something really nice about making your own. I mean, you can go to Primark and buy 7 pairs for £3, you know, if you just want everyday socks. But actually, there's something quite nice about making your own. So, I have partridge stitch, so we're just going to work backwards and forwards on one, so it's just like using normal needles. So, the first row, and it's a repeat of 2 rows. The first row, you're going to slip one and knit one, and slip one and knit one, and slip one and knit one, and you just work down the row, slip one, knit one, okay, all the way down. And what this does is, because we're going to purl the next row. Hang on. I would slip that one. It's because I'm talking. Knit. Here we go. It gives you a much thicker. It's not a rib, so it's not going to rub, but it gives you a thicker fabric. It makes it a much thicker fabric around the back of around the heel of the sock, which helps with its cushioning, but it also helps with rubbing, and they don't wear out so quickly. You haven't got to darn them. So I'm just slip one, knit one, all the way down the row. Slip one, knit one, slip one. Tell me I just didn't drop a stitch. No, I didn't. Okay. second row, and it's just a repeat of those 2 rows, and however long the heel flap is according to your pattern. Okay, so I'm going to slip one like that, and then it's purl all the way along. However, make sure that your wool is not caught up in your needle. Okay, so slip one, slip my first one. Oh, where is it? Come here. There we go. Doesn't want to do it. And then I'm going to purl all the way along. So purl, purl. There we go. So I'm just going to purl all the way along, and that's my final row. I did 32 rows on this pattern, you know, of the Eye of Partridge stitch. But there are lots of different ways of making a heel flap. Lots of different stitches. Sorry, not ways. Stitches. I particularly like the Eye of Partridge. I think it's really it's comfy to wear because it is quite cushioning, particularly if you've got boots and stuff on in the winter. But there are different versions, and actually that's one of the nice things about Zoe's pattern is the As Requested Socks pattern, is that she gives you lots of different versions of it. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way along like this. Sorry, I know this is a bit dull because I'm just purling, but I want to show you how to turn the heel, because it's something that absolutely threw me the first time I did it. I just couldn't work it out in my head what I was trying to do. There's actually a really good set of YouTube videos called Very Pink Knits. Literally very and then pink and then the word knits. If you search that and look for their magic loop tutorial on YouTube, they break it down so easily into little tiny sections, and they with the heel turn and everything, and it's a really good series of videos, and that and Zoe's pattern definitely was the way to go. And I still have to refer back to the heel turn. I always have to have it written down for me. Okay, so what they mean by the heel turn is at the moment, obviously, that's going down the back, and you want to turn the work so it's coming along here, okay, lift the sole of the foot. So we need to turn these stitches from basically vertical to horizontal, okay? And if you've made socks before and I'm teaching you to, you know, suck eggs, ignore me today, okay? So, I'm on the wrong row. Sorry, I'm on the wrong row. I need to very quickly do another slip row. Sorry. Sorry, it should have ended with the slip row, so I'm going to just get there very quickly. Okay, so talk to me, ladies. Anybody there? Well, I'm just getting to the end.
I think Linda meant Sandra.
Oh, Sandra's going into detention. Oh, right. Why was Sandra late?
Thanks.
I thought, what have I done? Oh, why do I have to go into detention? I'm not sure. I would, you know, I mean, like I said, I'm still a real beginner in the world of sock knitting. I mean, I've made probably about 8 or 9, 10 pairs now, because I do enjoy making them. But yeah, it's definitely Very Pink Knits on YouTube, and check out Owl About Yarn and Pins and Needles. Those girls really know what they're talking about. They really do. They've been doing this for years, and they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, and they taught me, you know. So go to the experts. I'm just pointing you in a sock yarn direction. Okay, so heel turn. First one, I'm going to slip the first one, okay, like that, and then I want to purl 18 because I'm doing a middle-sized sock. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anyone talking? 7,
No.
8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, it's getting me counting now. 12, 13, 14, 15, nearly there. 16, 17 and 18. So I've purled 18, okay, and now I want to purl 2 together like that, and then purl 1, and then I'm going to turn. I'm going to leave these stitches here and we're going to turn. Okay, like that.
Linda asks, how many balls of wool do you need for a pair of socks?
These ones that we've got, that will make one ball. That will make one pair of socks, and you'll have a bit left over. Okay, but you will get one. You'd get a man size pair of socks. You'd probably get 2 kids pairs, but yeah, you'd get more than enough for one pair of socks out of one ball. Okay, so I've pulled that. I've pulled 2 together, and then I've got the yarn tangled. Sorry, ladies, I'll get it all out of the way. And then I've turned. Okay, so my next row, I'm going to slip the first one, and then I'm going to knit 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and I'm going to knit these 2 together. So you're going to do a slip skip oh my god, I can't say the words. Slip stitch past slip stitch over. Okay, so like that, okay, and then knit the 2 together. Okay, so that they go in the right way, like that, and then we're going to knit 1 and we're going to turn again. Okay, and turn again. And what we're doing is we're gradually making this horizontal going to come this way, the vertical there come horizontal. All right, so my next row, which is a wrong side row, I'm going to slip 1, and this time I'm going to purl 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, ooh, where's that, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, and you can see you've got this funny little gap there, and that's where we turned on the first row. But now you're going to pull those 2 together from this needle, okay, and purl 1 and turn again. Now your pattern will have all this written out for you, okay? You haven't got to try and remember this off me. I'm literally following my pattern, and then I'm turning again. Okay, so this row I'm going to knit 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, going to, hang on, did I do that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, slip 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I did, yeah. Okay, and then we're going to go 1. No, I've done something wrong there. Excuse me, ladies. Hang on. What have I missed? I've missed one. Because I should be knitting those 2 together and purling that one. Okay, so I'm going to do the slip that one and that one off, insert my needle back in. Oh gosh, this is so difficult to do. Knit those 2 together like that, and then I'm going to knit 1 more off there to close that gap up. Okay, I don't know if you can see. Can you see it starting to do this? Okay, starting to go flat, and you just keep going until basically you run out of stitches either side of the gap. So my next row is going to be slip, and then I'm going to knit all the way to the end. 1, 2, 3. There should be 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. And then we're going to pull those 2 together like that, right at the end. Got that big gap, and then you're going to pull 1 more because we're closing up that gap, and we're turning it each time. It might be really hard to see. Typically it's gone onto a dark wool. Can you see how this is starting to turn, going from vertical, and it's turning flat? You would just continue on like that. So we're going to keep going. We'll do a knit row this time, so I'm going to slip my first one, knit all the way along like that, this, until I get to the gap. I get 2 before the gap. There we go.
Sandra said I used to make baby booties with this method of heel placement. Yeah,
it's very, very similar to that, lovely. It's and actually it gives you a really nice, so these are what they call toe down socks, because you start at the ankle. I'll knit that last one. I'm not going to go any further, but hopefully you can see, if I go on the angle like that, can you see how it's starting to turn? okay, and you just keep going, so you get to the gap on the next one, so you're going to decrease there, knit another one in, and then before the gap you decrease, and then you knit one further, and you just keep going until you've got right to the end, and that heel flap will have turned all the way across. So I'm not going to show you more because I've just realised what the time is. But like I said, check out Very Pink Knits on YouTube. Brilliant set of instructional, really nice. She's got an overhead camera so you can really see what she's doing and everything. Sock walls, we've got all those lovely sock walls on the website, and you do get a free pattern with them as well. But actually, if you've not done Magic Loop before, I would absolutely go onto Ravelry and get the As Requested Socks by Zoe Carter. It's brilliant. It's so full of hints and tips and how a sock is constructed. It was like a light bulb moment with me with this, because the first ones I made, which actually were these were my first ever ones, I really struggled. I bodged my way through them because I didn't quite understand the construction, and then I bought this and it was just like, that's what that means. Sometimes knitting patterns assume that you already know what you're doing, but if you're an absolute beginner, which this might be a new method to you, you kind of need to need that. So I would absolutely check out Zoe Carter As Requested Socks on Ravelry. That pattern is invaluable. I've learnt so much from it. We've got all the lovely sock yarns on our website, but if you want something a bit different and a bit special, this one was an Owl About Yarn one. Was it? Oh no, that was the lady in Leicester that I bought from. This was Owl About Yarn, and this was Owl About Yarn. She hand dyes, and these are just so soft. They're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. She hand dyes all her yarns, and she's based in Surrey, only around the corner. So, and she's got a website, she's got Instagram, and go and have a check out some of her sock yarns, because they are yummy. She also does other stuff as well, but it's really good. So that's it. That's kind of a very, very brief look at Magic Loop. Once you've done one, I think most people are converted. Most people that I've shown it now don't use double pointeds at all, because it's just so much easier. It means you can literally, I could shove that like that in a little drawstring bag, take it with me, and I don't have to worry about any, I don't even have to finish the row. But I don't have to worry about any of the needles falling out and me losing my stitches. And it's something so methodical after a while. It's really, it's quite meditative. I can never say that word. So any questions or comments or anything there, love?
No. It was just Sandra's last comment about the baby booties.
Cool. Okie doke. Right, well, thanks for joining me. I'm back tomorrow with a block for Block of the Week. I can't remember what I'm doing now. I'm not going to tell you. You have to wait till tomorrow. But we're going to do a Block of the Week tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see you then. We'll see you at 1 o'clock. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon. Bye.